Hello and welcome. This is another in the 10-minute tip series of recorded programs for credit and collection professionals. This one is titled Things Every New Credit Manager Should Know. My name is Michael Dennis. I'll be the presenter today. Let's begin with an introduction. Many credit managers, in fact most of the people I know, have learned their job on the job. The problem with learning on the job is that you learn by trial and error. The problem with learning by trial and error are, of course, all the errors that you're going to make along the way. The problem with errors is fairly obvious. They cost time and they cost money, and errors have the effect that they can harm customer goodwill and damage your reputation as the credit manager. This program includes many of the things that I wish someone had told me before I took my first job as a credit manager. So let's jump in. Quick tips. Number one, remember that people, your team, the members of the credit department, are your most valuable resource. Do whatever tasks, whatever jobs your boss considers to be the most important. In other words, don't set your own priorities. Make sure your priorities are consistent with what your boss believes needs to be done. Focus on exceeding your manager's expectations about your individual performance, about your management skills, and about the performance of the credit department as a whole. Find a mentor as quickly as you can. Whatever mistakes you make, own them. Own your own mistakes. Don't miss deadlines. In particular, don't miss deadlines that have been set with or by your boss. Learn to listen. Listen to your subordinates. Listen to your peers. Listen to your customers. Listen to the sales department, and especially listen to managers. You don't need to know all the answers, and you won't know all the answers. If in doubt, don't guess at the answer. Tell them you'll get back to them. Ask whoever you need to get the right answer to the question, but don't guess. Be enthusiastic, and I know that may sound simplistic, but it's important. People like to work with others who are enthusiastic, so be that person. In addition, be the first person to volunteer. Seek out assignments. Have your hand up. Be the first person in the room to say, I'll do it. Prioritize yourself and make sure that every member of the credit department is prioritizing their work. Now, this is a two-step process. The first step is to make sure that everyone understands what their priorities are. And the second step is to make sure that everyone is performing their work using the priorities that have been assigned. Quick tips continued. Measure performance in the credit department using lots of different metrics. For example, many companies measure bad debt write-offs as a % of sales, and many companies use DSO as a measure of credit department performance. What I'm suggesting is that they're fine, but we need to use lots of different metrics in addition to those as a way of evaluating how we're doing. For example, you could measure DSO and DDSO. You could measure % over 30 days past due, % over 60 days past due, % over 90 days past due. You could look at average turnaround time. You could look at how many calls are being made each day, how many emails are being responded to, how many emails are being sent on a daily basis. There's lots more than the handful of performance metrics that you could use, and I'm encouraging you to consider using multiple different metrics to measure lots of things that tell you about how the department is doing. Remember that customer financial statements, in particular unaudited customer financial statements, can contain errors or they can contain lies. Manager is a title, as in credit manager. Leadership or leader is a description of a skill set. If someone on your team doesn't understand your instructions, that's your fault. Remember to hire slowly and fire quickly. Please don't play favorites between and among your subordinates, because people are always watching the way their boss interacts with their peers, and they're very attuned to the idea that an individual seems to be a favorite of the boss. Don't shoot the messenger when someone delivers bad news. For example, one of your subordinates comes in and tells you they're having trouble collecting this past due balance. That is information. That's important news that you need to know so that you can get involved as quickly as possible to bring more horsepower to address and resolve the problem more quickly and more effectively, more efficiently, with as much goodwill retained as possible. So don't shoot the messenger, because once you start doing that, people become more and more reluctant to bring you information that you need. From management's perspective, salespeople are rainmakers and credit managers are not. Please recognize that sometimes customers complain to you, or they complain to senior management about you or your department as a distraction, as a way to delay the action that you're planning to take that they're trying to avoid. Remember that you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. Find a way to give your subordinates the tools that they need to track their own performance. Make sure that their goals are in writing and that they are clear. Ideally, set goals with your subordinates, not for them. Make sure that they have numerous individual performance goals, and also try to add 1 or 2 departmental goals, goals that are shared by every member of the credit department, irrespective of their duties or job title. If you don't know the answer to a question, don't guess. Try to address performance issues before they become problems, and try to address performance problems before they become the type of crisis that could cost someone their job. Be less tolerant of behavioral problems than performance issues. And an example of a behavioral problem would be a subordinate that doesn't seem to be able to come to work on time. So tardiness is a behavioral problem. Get comfortable with the idea that you're going to need to say no to subordinates' personnel-related requests, and you'll probably end up saying no far more often than you say yes. Share whatever insights and information you can with the members of the credit department when you can do so. Remember that managing people is the hardest part of your job as a manager. Don't delay giving individuals negative feedback until their annual review. That's not fair to you, that's not fair to them, and that's not fair to the company. Recognize that hiring is hard. Try not to allow subordinates to delegate their problems to you. Remember that respect for your position as the boss is earned, not given. Recognize that you're not Superman and you don't need to make every credit decision yourself. You don't need to know everything, but you need to know the basics of every position and every job responsibility in the credit department. Recognize that technology is always going to be changing, but the need to make great credit decisions doesn't change. An important part of your job is going to involve interacting with angry customers. Get comfortable with the idea that from time to time, your credit decisions are going to be overridden by your boss or by executive management. Try to get to know the members of your team as quickly as possible when you become the department manager. Try to plan to meet regularly with your team members as a team and individually. Recognize that no matter how hard you try, you will not be able to do it all yourself, so don't try. Managers are going to want or like or need information from you. Please don't waste your manager's time providing too much detail. Find out quickly how your boss wants you to share information. For example, do they want you to meet with them briefly every day? Do they want you to save it up and meet with them once a week for an hour or more? Do they want emails? Do they want written reports? Our job is to figure out how our bosses want information shared with them. Recognize, please, that the credit department will be an ongoing source of discussions within senior management about cost cutting and cost savings. Thank you very much for your time today. I hope you found this program to be interesting and useful. If you're interested in more information about this specific topic, here's how you would go about getting it. Again, thank you very much. Have a great day.